Oh, yeah. Hello, friends. Welcome to Talking with Famous People. My name's host Eric, and I'm here to live stream. I have recently completed a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience called Rexual Intercourse with Rachel. During the processes of rexual intercourse, what one does is secret. Shh. Nobody but adults know the secret of rexual intercourse. And I'm the eternal man child, so I'm not supposed to know it. So what I look like with the facelift. How do I look? Younger? Oh my gosh, I'm so young now. Look how young I am. I've gotten a facelift. Hi, Octavia Silva. This is Eric with a facelift. That is all got to say, you people. I am feeling young and vibrant, fresh and wonderful today. Ever since I got my facelift, things have been looking up. What do you think? Should I get a facelift? Based on that evidence? We have beautiful, beautiful cheekbones. Thanks, Octavia. I polish them every day. Every day I polish my cheekbones. That's why they're so beautiful. I need to get a facelift like, one of those ladies who get the facelift. I can't think of a famous facelift recipient off the top of my head, but for some reason, like Faye Dunaway comes to mind. Is Faye Dunaway a famous facelift recipient? Might be. Hard to say for sure. Anyways, boy, was that fun and satisfying. I had rexual intercourse with my Rady. Yeah, Scooby Doo taught me all about it. That's right. And I was just like, oh yeah, life is good. You have a chick who's 14 years younger than you, and really it's just like, bam, I gotta say, I find myself just sort of grinning from ear to ear a lot of the time. Just like, fuck yeah. How sweet is this? I'm sorry to boast about it. I feel this giddy glee about it's like I'm getting away with something almost. So good. Oh my god. Of course, I just think I really am very attracted to Rachel in particular as well. It's not just that she's young and sexy, it's that she's Rachel, and so that's the most important thing. You have to be very attracted to the person you're with. It's nice if they pop, but we have fun. It's very playful and fun, and not like angry or aggressive at all. There's nothing angry or aggressive about our sex. It's very playful and fun. I would say that to the extent that there's any sort of negative emotion to it, that would be condescension. It's like there's something I enjoy being condescending during sex. It's a weird thing. I feel kind of embarrassed to even talk about it, even though I talk about just about everything. It's like, I like to call things like sport and tiger. Is that a weird fetish? I never really talked about it that openly before. But that's basically, you know, is that weird? You like to call your sexual partner sport and tiger during sex and champ and things like that. I'm not getting any. I'm not getting any. No, that's perfectly normal, Eric, for everybody. You act like such a teenager when I talk about Rachel. I feel like a teenager. I feel like a teenager with his first girlfriend, you know? Octavia Silva. Condescension isn't necessarily negative. Okay, well, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It's not your traditional FI love, right? Like, oh my darling, I love you so much. Like, I'm not really very good at that because I'm bipolar. Oh, anyway, I don't know how we got off on this subject, except that's just what I segued from in regular life into now, I guess, is why we got off on this subject. I'm saving this last piece of pizza for Rachel. She did a good thing among the FP couple, which is she said, all right, I'll lay claim to that piece of pizza. Yes, that last piece is mine. I will eat it. I'm not going to eat it right now, so don't eat it. All right, cool. See, in most things, when you're an FE couple, both people are always trying to leave the last piece of something for the other person. So there's always like this one piece of the thing left over as a libation to the gods, basically. Because both people are trying to be polite. And as a consequence, that last piece of food never gets eaten. It just gets thrown away. And there's nothing polite about that, you know? This is just a large pizza we got. It fed us for lunch and dinner, though. We could have gotten an extra large, but we didn't get an extra large. And I'm glad we didn't. We didn't really need an extra large. Heavy people are a different species. I'll eat all of anything. I don't give a fuck. Well, you got to be careful, Octavia. So don't be like Toddle Bonkers in the story last night, who ate the alien meat and got an alien parasite INFJ embedded into his consciousness. You don't want to be like him, do you? I took a super long ass nap today from like, I'm not sure actually what time we went to sleep. Probably 2 p.m., 2:30 or something. I slept till like 6 o'clock, 6:30. I don't know, something like that. It was like a good 4-hour nap. Skygear says you're epipolar. I think he means you're mad. You're a mad purple devil guy. Well, angry face with horns is what that's called. He thinks you're angry face with horns? Okay, well, I don't think you're epipolar. But I don't want to argue with you about your type. You just get upset when I talk about your type. Yeah, naps make a big difference. It's like, I don't feel like I'm really able to go to sleep right now, so I might as well just stream. Okay, Space Cat. Well, I'm not going to agree to disagree with you. No, I'm not going to do that. I anticipated you were going to say that. I am not going to agree to disagree. I am going to agree to not throw your wrongness in your face. I hate agreeing to disagree. Agreeing to disagree is pretending like agreement means something other than what it is. You know? Agreeing to disagree is not agreeing about anything. That's the problem with that expression. That's failing to agree. Let's accept that we failed to agree is not agreeing to disagree. So if you want to say, let's accept that we failed to agree, fine. I will accept that we failed to agree. But I will not agree to disagree. Experiment 625. Hi. What happened with Experiment 624? It was a bust? Turned everybody into squirrels? Semantics, you TI tool users. Not just semantics. It's the goodness of truth versus the wicked evilness of falsehood. It's not just a technicality. It's a moral issue. Let's disagree to agree. Yeah, if you put it the other way around, you realize now it makes no sense, right? Let's disagree to agree. Life's a funny thing. It sure is. It's a sort of funny thing that doesn't make you go ha ha so much as it makes you go wah wah wah. This Robert Jordan book. I want to talk. We're not going to Seattle. We're going to a different part of Washington State. And we are going there on Sunday. Today is Tuesday. Now it's Wednesday morning. We're going to leave for Washington on Sunday. We'll be there Monday evening, probably. It's a full 2 days worth of driving. Let me see how long it takes to get there, actually. Let me Google that. Directions to Seattle. Let's say we were going to Seattle. 18 hours, not bad. That's 2 9-hour days of driving. Not a big deal. Rachel and I have got something like 20 plus hours of book one of Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time series. So we're going to listen to that on the way up there. And see, like, here's the weird thing. I wasn't tired after I was done having sexual intercourse. And I came out here, and now I'm starting to get a little bit tired. I know if I had lay down there and tried to go to sleep, I would have tossed and turned. But instead of trying to do that, I came out here and started lecturing. But now I'm feeling kind of tired. But if I tried to lay down, I would just toss and turn, I have a feeling. You were planning on reading that book? Yeah, we're reading about it. Yeah, we're listening to the series. Here's the thing, Space Cat. I'd read through, no, it's not time for net number 2. I'm a almost 40, 50-year-old man. It's very rare that I net twice in a day, and not back to back like that. No, I don't want more intercourse in that. I am an intuitive. I am not a sensual. You know, I get my fill of intercourse. And then I need no more intercourse for a day or so. You know, that was a rather extended intercourse session too. Maybe not going to make Cloud impressed, but you know, extended for us. He said that I, for one, will only disagree with the disagreement, and that's the end of it. Interstellar Cat is a better name than Space Cat, I think. I think you should change your name, Countess, to Interstellar Cat. No, that would be what's it called? Matriculation. Curious Kyra. You've mistaken matriculation for intercourse. Intercourse is something, listen, when a man and a woman are very, very much in love, sometimes she'll let the man befoul her with his filthy penis. That's called sexual intercourse. Yeah. Someday, Curious Kyra, if you're deeply, deeply in love with a very, very special man, you may decide even to allow him to befoul you with his filthy penis. That's called heterosexuality. Befouling is the heterosexual way of life, yeah. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm pleased to see you're in bed already, Rachel, and I'm here to befoul your innocence with my penis. Let me desecrate your purity. Hi, I'm Eric, and I'm here to desecrate your purity. Do you have to desecrate my purity? Yes, I'm sorry. That's what's required here. As a woman, you are full of purity. As a man, I am endowed with a penis by which to desecrate it. I shall desecrate and befoul you in a sexual fashion. Poke, 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 poke. You like that, don't you? Yes, I don't actually feel befouled or desecrated. I kind of am into it. That's the tricky part about heterosexuality, you see. It's weird like that. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. Here's 16 playlists. I'll briefly make you a moderator. Put the link after you're a moderator, and then I'll unmoderate you. Okay, now you're a moderator. You can post a link to your channel. Then I'll remove you as a moderator, but the link will still be there. Hi, Lyra Fajical. You've got a hat, you've got a circle, you got an eye. That's 3 things you got going for you. Deflower. To deflower represents the initial befoulment, okay? The initial desecration of innocence or befoulment of the woman's body with the man's filthy penis is referred to as the deflowering. Correct. Kyra is learning a lot today here on Talking with Famous People. Learning a lot. You don't have any content. You do have 1 subscriber, though. For no videos. Do you have 16 playlists? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Liar! Liar! You have 17 playlists. Oh. 16 playlists. I was so surprised to discover that you don't have 16 playlists. You have 17. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, it was clickbait. That's the clickbait channel name. 16 playlists reminds you of Teal Swan? Why? Because he lies about the number of playlists he has? That's cool. I like your name, 16 playlists. I like your concept. I've never heard of anybody doing such a concept before. You got all 16 types as playlists. There's no angle to it. It's just for your own fun or something, you know? If you can describe what about me irritates you, what would it be? You keep revisiting subjects I think should be completed. Like you keep making things that I don't think should be open questions anymore, open questions again. That's what I find irritating about you, if anything. I don't find you very irritating at all in general. I don't think you're an irritating person. Horse Mumbler, there's no way in hell I'm letting Rachel loose alone in San Francisco for any longer than I had to briefly in Berkeley one time, which was she had to take an Uber from the motel to where I was. She had to be there, and she wanted to take a little extra time to check out, right? In the process of just her getting herself from the motel to where I was at the campus, she lost her phone and had problems. So it's like, in general, I try to be on top of that shit. It's a good idea, 16 playlists. I like it. It's a pure art project, you know. It gets purity points. In that regard, it's a womanly idea because women are pure. It's a very NI idea as well. 16 playlists. What do you have me typed as? Right. Well, that's a good way to generally. That's a good dating trick there. Horse Mumbler, you say, hey, you know, oh, good. Really nice to meet you too, Julie. Would you mind if I put this flower in your hair? Hey, don't worry, I'll deflower you later. It's tricky. It's slick, you know. Ah, good. You've typed me correctly. 16 playlists. I'm pleased to hear that. Really, you got a lot of ENTPs? I'm going to transubstantiate you this bonger of 16 playlists. I hereby transubstantiate thee, 16 playlists. Well, see, that's the thing, Octavia. So, I didn't have an outlet for this. For a lot of years, I was a drunk and sort of a workaholic. I was either at work or I was drunk or I was getting ready to go to work. You know. Then after I quit drinking, the first major conflict I had with my ex-wife, my ESFJ ex-wife, was I wanted to start expressing myself again, as I had in the early 2000s for a stretch of time, before I sort of settled into being a father, husband, drinker, worker person, you know. And I mean, it's somewhat reductive, you know. I did other things too, but whatever. The point is, I wasn't really expressing myself. So after I quit drinking, I wanted to express myself more. My ex-wife, she had a big problem with it. Being an ESFJ, she was accustomed to trying to curtail my expression when I was drinking. Into the new reality, all of a sudden, I wasn't concerned about my drunken bad judgment, and so she didn't really have any leverage on me about this. And I think she was in general wrong about what she wanted to censor me about. You know. Candace is a tricky one. I'm not going to deny that. She's a challenging bucket of curdled milk. A challenging bucket of curdled milk? Yes, that's what she is. You might be mentally ill, but I'm mentally ill. I'm mentally illin'. That's what I am, you know. When I'm on an interesting tangent and get distracted by the chat. What was I talking about? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, workahol. Workahol can be dangerous. Yeah, I was a workaholic. I was a drunk. I was whatever. I wasn't expressing myself. When my second wife tried to censor me, continue to sort of oppress my inclination to express myself, it caused conflict between us. And eventually that sort of conflict grew and into our eventual separation, divorce. She left me basically. But it took a long time, and we went through some couples therapy and stuff like that. So it wasn't like it was easy on both of us. We both agreed that we weren't going to separate until we were both ready for it, you know? And we even had this really sort of tragic last family trip to Mammoth. Regardless, from once we separated, she and I, at that point, I started really directing more attention to YouTube. And in particular, I started making what I called at the time philosophy talk videos, where I was just musing out loud about philosophical notions that I was thinking about and not even caring at all about how it played for an audience. Now, that was kind of archiving notes for a philosophy book that I sort of vaguely had in mind at the time that never came about. But what ended up happening is some people started watching it anyway, even though I wasn't really caring about the audience. And when I finally put together a video or two that people did like to watch, I realized, oh, you know what? I might be able to actually generate something of an audience on here, and I'm going to try to do that. It was incredibly gratifying because my whole life I'd been ignored. It felt like to me. EHBs are not necessarily screamy. I'm an 8, you know. I'm 784, but it's still an 8 in the tri-type. Yeah. 56 ENTPs in a single room would likely be the result of a highly organized plan of genocide of all ENTPs constructed by INTJs. Right. You know who's an ISFJ? I don't know if he's got, you can probably find a video of him, maybe not a channel, is Shane, Becky's boyfriend. He's an ISFJ. Jewel has been on the channel a few times. if you channel search TWFP for JEWEL, she's an ISFJ. She's been in a couple of videos. She's definitely an ISFJ. Kimberly's an ISFJ, my ex. She's been in plenty of videos. Yeah, Shane's video is about how horrible I am, I think, but nevertheless. He's still an ISFJ, so. So yeah, I'm not sure if your list requires them to have their own channel or just be in a video. Okay. Cool. 16 playlists. I'll check it out. It's an interesting concept. I'm gonna make myself a new pot of coffee, okay? And coffee filter with the Miggity Meow. And we put it in the Miggity Meow. And we raw the murmur. One dose. Close the meow. Push the pia. Put on the beer. And we're good to go. Okay. Why are you drinking coffee right now? That's a move I'd make. Well, because I make moves like you, Matthew Alistair. Is it true that if somebody gets too into typology, they peacock and actually display something that isn't their type? I don't know. What sorts of hobbies engage TI? You know, like deductive reasoning problems. I mean, look, the thing to remember is that if your tool function is TI, you're going to approach whatever with TI. So if I'm watching a show, like, I don't know, whatever, and I hear some inconsistency, I'm going to note it and think about it because I'm going to use TI all the time. I'm watching golf. I'll have some sort of TI immunity mirror. I don't know. Who's got sores all over his body? Me? I don't have sores all over my body. I do have a sore right here. Not really a sore. It's a pimple. Got one right here. See it? Is that what you're talking about? Juicy pimple. Yeah. Oh, then ISTP has sores all over his body? I don't want to see that. That's horrible. Why does he have sores all over his body? Did he go to Sore Emporium and buy the deluxe package? Sore Emporium. Come down, get sores all over your body. Cheap, easy, convenient. It's your one-stop sore destination. Sore Emporium. What common ground have you found with ISTPs? Have you found you can connect with them through TI? Yes, I have. TI, we don't have any problems. We can communicate easily. The problem is I'm doing all the talking. They're just judging and responding. Has any polar made him question the validity of sore medicine? The ISTP has crystal meth addiction? Well, I had crystal meth addiction. I didn't have sores all over my body. I was a meth addict for 4 years. I didn't have any sores all over my body. It's ridiculous. Why would that cause sores on your body? You know? Can anybody explain this to me? Am I hanging out with any SI first and second slot people, Eric? Well, I'm hanging out with my dad. He's second slot SI. I had a conversation with him this evening. I try to talk to him every day. I try to have scheduled dinner for the same time with him. All ISTPs have sores, no exceptions. They're born with sores. They'll die with sores. They pop out the womb covered in sores. The doctor goes, "Oh, you got an ISTP. Might as well just name him Sorry Joe." I guess some meth addicts get sores because they pick at themselves. I've heard about that. Oh, he picks at it. He explains it's like tripping on acid and he feels like things are crawling out of his skin, so he picks at it. Oh, yeah. Do you find that as an anytime you need a conversation partner to be highly responsive, or do you appreciate when people listen intently to you? The latter. I don't. Well, look, I mean, the thing is, obviously, I want people to be responsive really more than I just want them to listen. If I wanted people to listen and hear me more than I wanted them to be responsive, then I wouldn't live stream mostly. I'd upload videos mostly. Instead, I live stream mostly. But I guess within the context of the live stream, I like being asked a lot of questions and I wouldn't blame you for not admitting that on the internet, Matthew. I'm an unusual creature, right? There's really not many people quite as fully open as I am about everything in my life. So I respect the fact that, first of all, this approach of mine, it's an all or nothing approach. You either go all in with it, with transparency, or you're going to have to not take this approach. It doesn't really work part way, and it certainly isn't an approach for everybody, because you've got to be what's the word? Incubated against harm, or insulated against harm. I'm insulated well. I can. And what if you imagine? Well, what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? You imagine it could happen with something like that. Well, the answer is some hater emails the most negative possible interpretations of all of your ugliest truths to your dad. That's already happened to me. So I'm free, you know? I'm completely free. It's nice. Don't forget the sores. Hey, don't forget your sores. You paid for them. Might as well take them home with you. We don't want them here, that's for sure. Eric, what'd you take on shadow functions? No, you'll develop it for sure. Look, my experience with shadow functions and all functions is that my capacity to include those modalities in some way or another into my life is contingent on my understanding of them intellectually first. That's probably because I'm a meta analyst, which as an INFJ, you are too, which means we're map first territory way below that in terms of significance. So for us, we have to have a map based understanding of the backslot functions in order to have any kind of experiential engagement with them. And in other words, studying cognitive functions allows you to develop those backslot things. For example, my SE is getting better and my FI is getting better with Rachel. And I'm starting to recognize what FI is more. It's like, no, put yourself in her shoes and want to make her happy. Want her to be happy. Rather than want things to be fair, want to impress her, or want her to like me, or whatever, There's a different thing. I am getting an increasingly nuanced understanding of the difference, Also, my understanding of NI is increasingly nuanced partially because Rachel, like any NI Dom, I think, can get lost if you throw too many words at her too fast. If you expect her to read too many words too fast, she listens faster than she reads. And if you throw too many concepts at her, she's an NI Dom. If she doesn't exactly get lost, she goes into receive mode, where she's just receiving the information without exactly processing it now, knowing that her NI will process it once it's settled for a while, right? That's just the NI way. So being with her has compelled me to be more NI friendly, staying in a straightforward fashion what something is and not providing a lot of, on the other hand, it could be meow, or it could be meow, or it could be meow, or it could be meow, No. Listen, I typed you right, whoever you are, whether you be Countess or Sergey. I may have gotten the wrong type. It's possible, right? I could type you correctly, and given the fact that we have a limited amount of time, still get the wrong type. However, it's not the case that I typed you wrong. It would be the case that despite typing you correctly, I concluded the appropriate conclusion, but it turned out to be the incorrect one. That's plausible, but unlikely. So listen, you guys who don't want to argue with me about your type, then you're going to have to not make declarative statements like that are false, because you know how I respond to false statements. I tend to negate them. And it is wrong what you said. And it's wrong on all counts, frankly, but it's possibly wrong. I mean, it's possibly correct in that I got the wrong type. I'm not perfect. I do occasionally get types wrong, but you guys haven't provided any reason to think I have gotten your type wrong. The best reason I've heard from Countess is that she keeps insisting she's not NI-polar, but she's never given me any actual indication as to why that is the case, nor anything that suggests definitively that she's not to me. So, I'm where I am. You guys don't want to hear this shit, so don't provoke it. No, I don't think that's the case. I think that's bullshit. I don't think people engage in their shadow functions primarily when they're unhealthy, such as ENTP engaging in their INT shadow and appearing and such. No, I think it's complete bullshit. I think I have a great example of what somebody unhealthy looks like. Rachel when she's not Rachel, right? And what I see there is NI maximized and a complete like maximal intuitard. Okay, maximizing the intuitard aspect of things is being an unhealthy INFJ, where your NI truths, the negative ones, are all upheld by personal experience that you happen to have that's relevant, but other personal experience is completely ignored because the NI negative truths are predominant. That's what an unhealthy INFJ looks like. It looks like an INFJ that's ignoring the sensory side of the world. It's not letting their SI 8th slot function do its job, basically. They're subsuming too much of the SI 8th slot function by the NI. Okay, Countess, I've argued plenty of times and made plenty of justifications for why I thought you were an ESTJ. I'm not going to repeat those arguments. If you'd like to go revisit those arguments, you can find them in the old videos and revisit them, okay? I have argued that plenty of times. Obviously, my typing methodology has evolved over time. The longer time ago that I typed you, the more legitimate cause you have to say that I did it incorrectly, that I should have done things differently, okay? Because obviously, the closer to now it comes, the more I know what I'm doing. I've done it more and more times, and I am an SI user, so that means I get better over time. I'm also an HP, which means I'm trying to get better over time. And remember, most of all, I'm doing so in the most objective fashion I can. So if you had anything useful to say to improve my technique, I would apply it. If you revealed something that was useful in the sense of like, oh, this is right, I've not meaningfully addressed this question and so forth, then I've already agreed with you about the SI tool thing. That your SI tool, actually, no, I remember. I got what you were doing. You're totally SI tool. And you were saying, well, I don't remember. You were gaming. You were straight up fucking gaming, you know? Countess, and I can see right through it. And sorry, I can see right through that shit. I'm too intuitive for you. Your SI was pretty clear. You had lots of examples. You used lots of examples, right? But I agree with you that the way you answered was designed to mislead me into thinking you weren't SI tool. That I agree with you on. If that's what you're saying. Now, you're not saying that, but I'm saying if you were to say that, I would agree with you. That your answers were designed to lead me away from SI tool. But I'm better at typing than you are at faking. The third slot NE is clear as day. And of course, that's one way of establishing SI second slot, Countess. Third slot NE is a good way of establishing second slot SI if you use TI, okay? Everyone who knows me never said I'm SI tool. Nobody you know, except for me, is qualified to tell you that, except for maybe some other people on the internet. And the people you get close to you all agree with you about everything, because as soon as they disagree, you throw a little fucking fit. That's the truth. You don't like it? Too bad. Don't provoke it. Countess, you remember that well. And like I said, I agree you are a bit of a thorny type to type, okay? I agree with you on that there are some things that are inconsistent with ESTJ. You pointed out that you're mentally ill. I would posit that perhaps that explains those inconsistencies. You've not posed any other alternative type that is more consistent with your answers and your display and your affect and your expression of self and stuff than ESTJ. There's no alternative you proposed that's more consistent with all the data. Okay? I agree. ESTJ is not completely consistent with all of the data. You are right. And you are ignoring what I'm saying because you're being an ESTJ who's ignoring TI. The fact is, it's the most consistent with all the data. It's the one we ought to choose. Sorry, that's how it is. There's no other type that even remotely is consistent with the data. Well, sure you remember what you want to remember, like every other SI tool user, because SI is an impression of your experience. It's not a literal, objective kind of memory. SI is subjective. NI is objective. That's the kind of shit you ignore because you don't care what the truth is because you're NI fucking polar. You can question my tests all you want, Countess. You can nitpick all you want. What I'm saying stands. That there is no other type that is more consistent with your overall affect display and all of the data that I have on you than the ESTJ. You can't present one. The best you can come up with ENTJ, except you're clearly not an ENTJ because you go back and forth on what's true all the fucking time, just like my dad. I didn't choose SI Dom. I said you were ESTJ. I'm not picking or choosing something, okay? I'm telling you what is most consistent with the data. I don't have a fucking preference, Countess, obviously. For Christ's fucking sakes. Like I give a fuck what type you are. I don't want to argue about this. I told you that already. And I point out if you don't want me to correct you, quit making provocative claims. You're fucking wrong. Live with it. Okay, Countess, you need to point to a specific example of a comparable thing where you say I'm applying a different metric to the two things. That would be a legitimate critique of something if you gave me a specific example that actually was meaningful, other than just generally making the claim. But you just generally make the claim because you don't think NI fucking matters at all. For Christ's fucking sakes. I thought you were ENTJ when you told me you were ENTJ when you first came in here. You are recounting a bunch of details about the past here, I would note, trying to make arguments with your SI instead of anything remotely like TI or even TE. So, no, Countess, no, I'm not going to continue this conversation. I'm done. Then care about your type. But you don't care about your type, Countess. You care about forcing me to agree with you. And it's just not going to fucking happen. I don't want to give you a TI test. I don't fucking care. Does nobody understand that? I don't care what type you are. I do care about wrong statements people make. My data is not my data. It's the data available to me. Everything you're saying now, everything you say in all the chats I've ever talked to you in. No, I don't have to care about your type. Why? Because I am currently not being paid to type you. I cared about your type when I was paid to type you. You don't like how I did? Fine. You can pay me again or pay someone else. I don't give a fuck. I did my job properly. I've got no apologies. Then Quint, why? Why should I have to care about your type when you're not paying me to type you? Especially when I care enough to correct you. I care enough anyway to correct you. You don't want me to care about your type. You don't want me to get it right. You don't want me to type you differently. You don't want me to type you better. You want me to agree with you even though you're wrong. Sorry, not gonna happen. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. I don't know what type Eileen is. I've never fucking typed her. That's just my opinion. That's not an official typing. I'm not telling you people you're an ESTJ, you fucking moron. I'm telling you that if you keep insisting provocatively statements about my typing approach and how I'm wrong about things, I will correct you because you are wrong. Because you are an ESTJ. If you don't want me to talk about it, then don't provoke me into talking about it. If I am going to talk about it, I'm not going to lie to make you feel better. So fuck off. How about that? How about that? I'm not spreading wrong information. I have my position on what type you are. It is not a fact. It is my position. Okay? I can't prove it. I am claiming that the data, the totality of data, is more consistent with my position than yours. That's my argumentational position. You disagree. I continue to maintain you are wrong. There's nothing I'm doing wrong here except insisting that the truth, the NI truth, be paramount in our considerations. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. I don't talk about you when you're not here. I'm not interested. I'm not just not that interested in you. So if you don't want to come here and talk about what type you are, don't come here and talk about what type you are, shit for brains. I mean, that seems straightforward enough. If you don't want me saying you're an ESTJ, don't come in here saying, Eric's wrong about me being an ESTJ. Eric's wrong about me being an ESTJ. Because they're going to be like, fuck off. No, I'm not. You are. Obviously. Duh. You don't have to be here, Countess. Nobody is forcing you to attend this live stream. You'll note the title on this live stream doesn't include mandatory. Previous live streams did. This one doesn't. We can conclude it's non-mandatory, therefore. I'll let you know next time there's a mandatory one. No, I'll tell people whatever the fuck I want. It's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. I'm not... I never said I could prove it definitively. It's my opinion about your type. I'm entitled to it, and I can tell people whatever the fuck I want. Obviously. Duh, Countess. I'm allowed to tell people my opinion about you. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't get to control what I say. Do you not understand that? No, I did type you officially. You paid me to type you, didn't you? I wasn't saying that about you. I'm saying you're not paying me to type you right now, so I don't have to care about your type right now. That's what I'm saying. Why is this not easy to understand? Could it be because you're unipolar? I don't care what she wants. I get to say what my opinion about her type is. I would never misrepresent it as equaling her opinion. I never have. If you want to accuse me of lying about her in some fashion, or lying about that it's just my opinion, or that's not true. I've never done that. So she has nothing to complain about. I don't care if she wants me to. It's not her prerogative to decide what I say. Her presumption that she should get to decide what I say is what's successfully pissed me off right now. Because she can suck it. You know? Yeah, well, I'm not feeling very FI when I get attacked like that, you know? I'm not putting myself in her shoes. I'm putting herself in my shoes going, the fuck you will. You know? I'm one of those FE people. Hey, look. Look who it is. It's Rangran Rishna Rarmarabaru. I know. I'm not as upset as it sounds like I am. You know? Or I guess I'm not upset anymore at all. I was mad for a second there. Now I'm not mad. That's the nice thing about being FI polar. Passes quickly. Like a dewdrop rain on a warm summer's morn in the desert sun of Antigua. Where is Antigua? We're talking about Antigua today. Rangran Rishna Rarmararu is her full name. Bangban Bishna Barmababu? Bangban Bishna Barmababu is pretty great. Bangban Bishna Barmababu. I know it wouldn't make any difference. I'm the same whether I'm smoking weed or not. You know? I really am. And it turns out I'm the same whether I'm on amphetamines or not, basically. The only main difference is when I'm on amphetamines, I work on music. That's why I got to take them, because I can't not work on music. How does one's type change over time, say decades, as they get access to and integrate more functions? Well, one's type doesn't change, but one's relationship with the functions in the various slots does. So, in other words, I'd say in particular, what one learns, what everybody learns, regardless of their metacognition about it, is they learn to integrate their third and fourth functions more and rely on their dominant and second functions less. So that's the basic sort of model of self-actualization that everybody, I did ignore it, Jordan Spike, because I didn't want to fight on two fronts. Okay. I was already fighting on one front. I didn't want to fight on another front. And so I just ignored what you said. I didn't want to get pulled in two different directions concurrently. I don't know why it's extra funny with the bees, but it definitely is. Bang Ban Barshna Bishna Bang Ban Bishna Barmababu is is absolutely fantastic. Bang Ban Bishna Barmababu should be her name. When Eric is screaming at someone, there's no point in trying to talk to him. That's another factor in it. What Octavio Silva says. I mean, you know, it's like you might have had legitimate points, but at that point, I'm trying to argue this basically fundamentally wrong frame attack by Countess, which is Eric needs to agree with me or not talk. And that needed to be addressed separately before anything else needs to be addressed. You know, it's the most important issue. It's an NI thing. NI makes that has to be clarified first of all. You don't get to say what I get to say unless you're telling me I'm lying or something like that or whatever. Or if I'm misrepresenting this as the sort of fact that's not an opinion matter or something, I'm not doing any of that, and you don't get to say what I say. That needs to be addressed first, and that point needs to be won first. Now, after that, there may be some legitimate points as well that are legitimate critiques that you have about me and my typing. And that's fair, but having exhausted myself in defending myself and getting Countess to acknowledge as best I could that, you know, she's being a clusterfuck of purposeful wrongness, then, you know, I didn't feel like having that battle anymore. I thought I'd go on to more nice topics, more pleasant topics. You know, it's not like I want to ignore you. Your timing was very bad. Don't mix in your legitimate critiques at the same time as Countess making a bunch of illegitimate critiques, because they're going to get lost in the wash. Again, NI stuff we're talking about here. Wang Wen Wishna Warmer Woo is pretty good. Actually, I kind of like the idea, Matthew, of maybe having the first two as W's and the last two as B's. Wang Wen Wishna Barma Baboo. Wang Wen Bishna Warmer. Wangan Wishna Barma Baboo is pretty good. Why ESTJs? Well, I rarely see ENTJs around here. ENTJs don't typically stick around here at all. They may stop in briefly, be here for a couple of days, and then they're gone. I see ENTJs in typing sessions because they find me to type them, and they're good at finding the right person to type them to get the right answer. So, where the NF idea poop from? That thing's ridiculous. This argument is so dumb. People ought not be categorized. People are more complex than a 16-type taxonomy. First of all, those are two separate arguments, and they don't understand that, right? Sure. I mean, you're welcome to make any legitimate critique you want. People want to question the polar test, for example. Well, I don't have an NI polar test. And so if you're saying, well, I'm questioning your NI polar test, I don't have one. I never said I did have one. I would like to have one. That'd be great if I did. You don't feel the ESTJ-ness? You feel like you're an ESFP? I don't remember. I mean, that was a long time ago, Jordan. I don't remember the typing very well. Pangpan Pishna Parma Paboo. It's still Pagoo, Matthew. You don't get to change the G into a P, I don't think. Because you didn't change the M in Parma to a P. It's not Parpa. It's not Parpa Paboo. It's not Pan. Pip Pa Parpa Paboo. So why did you change the last G to a P? You see what I'm saying, Matthew? Do you see what I'm saying? It's important to me that you see what I'm saying. Otherwise, you'd just be. You don't want Kankan Krishna Sarma Pagoo's name to be. Do you? Yeah, that's my bad, Jordan Spike. Well, I mean, we're just times bad, right? Do you type people based on their comments in the chat or during Facebook? Yeah, I only do official typings as I have an hour-long conversation face-to-face with a person, ask them questions, try to push on and pull on certain spots of their cognitive function array. The other thing that people need to remember that's challenging for me as a typologist is I've got a client that I need to make happy. And I'm not going to lie to them, but I am going to respect when they are made uncomfortable by certain lines of questioning. So there's things I could do to push harder on people that would give me more definitive information, but I don't because they don't want to be pushed on harder there, That's the biggest challenge I have as a typologist is I have to treat people like people. I can't treat them like test subjects, and that limits my ability to narrow things down sometimes. If somebody's, people don't like to have inadequacies exposed more vigorously so you really get to the bottom of how deep the inadequacy is. People tend to be sensitive about those spots. Also, an hour is a good amount of time. It's enough time, I think, to do what I'm going to do in one session. But I guess in the ideal world, you'd have multiple sessions over a course of a month, maybe, a few, 4 or 5 sessions or something, and really get to know a person and type them at the end of that, But that's asking too much of any typologist, and so It's a tricky FE dance. Is right, Jake Hurwitz. Yeah, I reduced it from 75 minutes. The thing is, I'll still sometimes go 75. It depends how the conversation is going entirely. Uh, with ISFPs, which I get a fair amount of them asking me to type them as well. They don't necessarily like the answer, but with them, they usually kind of run out of gas about 45 minutes because that's how much language, how many words they can internalize before they're just full of words. They just can't handle any more words. So the amount of time is 60 minutes, give or take. Did I type you? Wait, did I talk to you? I talked to you. I remember talking to you. Were they typing you? I think I just chatted with you, right? I'd be happy to chat with you some more this evening if you want. If you have more questions and stuff, we can go to the. I plan to do what I did last night. Thanks, Kyra. Appreciate that. When I run out of gas on the live stream here, I'm gonna probably go to the room and be just sort of sitting there. I could do it concurrently on the live stream, actually. All right, so I'm going to go to this room. I'll put a link up there, and I'm available to ask and answer questions to anybody who wants to come into the room. I'm going to go to this one. Okay. Copy link. I'm going to put right here. So I'm happy to answer questions in particular. I'd rather answer questions than ask them, frankly, but I wouldn't be totally against asking a few questions. If somebody wants me to ask them a couple of things. In this room, there's room for 3 more besides me. And if anybody wants to come in here, their face won't appear on the live stream, but their voice will appear on the live stream if they talk out loud. Okay? So, in other words, the way it looks in this room, you can go to this room right now. If you don't say anything, nothing that happens in this room is visible on the live stream. It's just like this the whole time. You guys could probably tell that. You know that as well as I do, I'm sure. Okay, so if anybody would like to just casually chat with me right now, ask me any questions, there's the room. And in the meantime, in case nobody wants to do that, oh, there's somebody. Let's see. It's Gwest. Gwest is one of the most popular people in all of wherebuy.com. Gwest is somebody who I see all the time. Never sure who he is. It's just Gwest. Thanks, Octavia Silva. Are you sure you're not an Negrum too? You seem like it. Right. What are my thoughts on Jesus and the Bible? Well, I am a Christian. My thoughts on Jesus are that he's 1/3 of a Trinity that includes God and the Holy Ghost. and that the slabs are part of the Holy Ghost. And as far as the Bible goes, I don't really have a lot of thoughts about it. I'm not a Bible reader, but the basic gist of the Jesus story that's taken from the Bible is my basic Jesus story. So I don't really care about the other parts, I guess. How does that sound? Is that a good answer? The slabs, yeah. Well, the slabs are the powers that be, as Kendrick Lamar says about the yams. Okay, slabs are the narrative slabs that they're basically like ontological slope. Okay, sometimes in life you begin a certain path, and that path locks you into that path, and it compels you forward along that path by varying degrees of inertia reinforcing or supporting vectors. So, for example, like because I talk so much about moralism, I'm driven down certain moral paths, or I guess away from certain immoral paths or certain immoral narratives. And consistency, my tool function, is kind of requiring me to maintain those positions across time so that I don't get called out for being hypocritical, and for my behavior to match up with those positions so I don't get called out for hypocritical. And that constrains me. Those are forms of the slabs. Now, when I talk about the slabs, though, I'm mostly talking about the other kind of the slabs, which is when shit outside of you happens in ways that fit in naturally with shit like I just described that's part of you, so as to create moments of synchronicity. That looks like it looks like a it looks like a ram under a bridge beside a road and the setting sun. Then the ram under the bridge, and that monster from Star Wars in the trash compressor thing. That monster coming out of that thing. And then next to that, it looks like that ram again. And then there's like a squirrel with big boobs or something. I don't know what the fuck that looks like. Can't Christian Summer for Good. What's it supposed to look like? Do I get bothered by people who are hypocritical? I mean, it's not something I find myself critiquing other people about very much. I don't find myself saying that person's hypocritical. I don't use the word as an attack. So I guess I would say it's not a it's not a metric that I'm likely to use in critiquing people, I guess. I use it in critiquing myself because it's my tool function, which means I use it for myself. How would you describe NI hero? NI dominant? I can't describe and can't explain to people what it is. People ask me what I am thinking in the moment. I can't say what's even going on while I've zoned out. Yeah, well, an NI person is somebody who's focused on the universal as the means by which one understands the particular. An example, as I often use, is Rachel's way of understanding the relationship is not to evaluate how we actually are in relating to each other, but to seek out information from things like tarot and astrology. It seems odd to me as an SI user that a person would, when trying to evaluate their relationship, would do something other than evaluate their relationship and the actual experience of it, right? But an NIDOM is inclined to view everything through some sort of universal frame. And so if you're an INFJ or an INTJ, especially an INFJ, because they don't have a particular tool function, okay? If you're an INFJ and you want to know, well, it's the sort of thing where, like, if you want to know if you're sleeping enough, you'll try to keep track of how much you're sleeping and Google how much you should sleep, rather than checking to see if you're tired by just using your SI, right? Well, do I feel sleepy? That's the sort of thing that an NI DOM does, because they are trying to consume everything with NI or subsume everything with NI. The SI part, introverted sensing, in the 8th slot for an INFJ means that they're most effective in life when they allow SI to do what it's supposed to do. Just like I'm most effective in life when I let SE do what it's supposed to do and don't fight against it. When I'm struggling to get some legwork part of something done, that's me letting my NE overwhelm my SE as it always wants to. I think it was Lightbulb and INFJ who said one time that your 8th slot function is really the only function you use right. But except you probably just don't use it quite enough, In that regard, what I would say is it's like it's balanced. You're not actually using it right, but it's balanced. You're using it when you have to. You're not using it when you don't have to. Sometimes when you don't have to, you should anyway. Okay? So that's what I mean by balanced. It's automatic as a sort of go-to unconscious tool function to supplement your dominant, to activate your dominant function. So it's like in order to continue to NE, I've got to activate it with some extroverted sensing. I got to start the live stream, start talking, and wait for people to show up and stuff. Do that kind of legwork. For an NIDOM, in order to know universally in a meaningful way, they have to have some personal experience to know about, right? And they've got to link what they know to their personal self if it's going to be an effective way to be as a human being. They can't simply link it to things outside of themselves, even though they're NIFE. So that's what I mean by 8th slot being balanced. NE, I would not say that, okay, no, SE gets activated by FE, ultimately, I think, is the answer to that more. The NE, the FE is
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's supposed to be predominant, but it's not. Oh, you forget about it until too late, and you realize, fuck, I should have been more FE attentive. All right, I'm going to talk to this guy now. Hi. Oh, it's Vainamoinen. Vainamoinen's here, and so is Guest. Hi, Vainamoinen.
Hi. Well, I would say, you need people you know, to activate any you need some sort of an audience. Like, sure, you can NE by yourself, but if you really want to activate your NE, you need someone to talk to or someone to impress, or so it goes FE, then SE, then NE, like not you do first and then you FE.
I mean, the
But the
thing
other way
is,
around.
I agree there needs to be an audience, but it doesn't mean necessarily that you're attending by a FE. So, in other words, the general frame of wanting something to be public is attained regardless of whether you're making it public in an FE effective way or not. And when I get lost yelling at somebody, what's happening there is TI is taking over and saying, fuck off, FE, go to the background. You're going to ignore everybody else and you're going to yell at this one person for 15 minutes. Right? This is a perfect example of my FE just taking a full-on back seat.
Yeah, but you kind of get activated by negative emotions as well. Like, that's negative FE, that's activating you to, anymore. And so you're not completely ignoring FE, you're just ignoring that good parts of it.
Okay, well, I mean, the thing is,
assuming.
Yeah, I mean, well, sure. Emotions. Look, in any expression of any TI point, there's going to be some FE involved in it because TI and FE are always paired together for a reason. Namely, they both represent the two halves of communicative defensibility. So it's impossible to TI something without expressing some sort of FE meaning along with it. But that's not the same thing as prioritizing an FE value, an absolute value third slot, over your TI tool function reflex, which is what ends up happening. Even though FE is the absolute value, and after the exchange, I might regret having done something because I don't like the way it makes me look or something. That doesn't mean that in the moment, TI wasn't predominant in my decision-making, obviously, since I pushed FE out of the way to yell at somebody. My larger FE goals, anyway, right? If you view it as an absolute value, which is goal attaining fundamentally because it's a payoff function, I'm not getting paid off with bad FE. And I am recognizing in the larger sense that yelling at this person, even if I won the FE battle on a tactical level, cost me on the FE battle strategically, means that it's not being driven by FE fundamentally.
Yeah, maybe in the long term, but the egoistic sense, you are getting paid off because FE for ENTPs is quite childlike, so they kind of, in a sense, fundamentally any sort of attention, negative or positive, is going to stroke your ego.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Not true.
I don't think that negative attention makes me feel good at all. I think that negative attention makes me makes me feel like I've done something wrong. But hey, Brandon, where did you put my cigarettes? Do you remember where you put them?
Inside the little black box behind you.
Is that where you put them? I don't think so. I think you put them someplace else. I got to find them. You hid them. It's your fault. You have to wait a second now. Why am I constantly losing everything? Why? There they are.
Yeah, right in front of you. Right.
No, they'd fallen off of this little table onto the floor.
Oh, okay.
All right, so what were you saying about what wrong thing were you saying again?
You don't feel good, but it's not how I see it. It's not so much a conscious feeling good type of thing. It's more subconscious. How you feed your ego. Usually, you're not so, or people are not so, conscious about the sub processes that go on, and especially if it's ego driven, you're not really even if you consciously feel bad, unconsciously you're feeling that ego need of being heard and seen, or getting that attention, even if it's negative.
Well, I mean, I would say my behavior has changed though over the years, such that my lashing out is more contained generally, although I still make some of the same mistakes. I do a little name calling occasionally. I did with Countess here tonight, but I mostly eliminated that behavior. So it does suggest that over time I'm making adjustments to be more FE sensitive or attentive, which would again suggest that I'm being inadequately FE sensitive or attentive in the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
regardless, look, I agree that it's difficult to parse out all these distinctions between the different expressions of the functions. For example, I was thinking earlier today about making a video where I talked about fishing as an SE example, as the equivalent or correlate for SI being spa day. Okay, spa day where you go get a massage, you go get into the hot tub and you put the mud mask on and all that stuff, right? Those are two kinds of, it's like, fishing is the SE equivalent of spa day for SI. And they both have a lot of physical components, but you can really distinguish between the two functions by recognizing that, like, all the doing on in the spa day is designed to create feelings in your body, right? Whereas all the doing in the fishing day is designed to ignore the feelings in your body, but rather to focus externally. So if you imagine somebody's SE fishing perfectly, right? They'd be trying to get it casted in the perfect place, leave it there just the right amount of time, jig it a little bit, reel it in. And they'd be doing all the doing aspects of the fishing very well. Whereas when I'm fishing, for example, I cast it out and I leave it there for an arbitrary amount of time, and then I get bored with it, and then I reel it in, and then I just and as I'm talking, and that's what it's like. That's how I fish, right?
Yeah, it's a side activity.
So you can see how I think both that fishing represents like SE, but also how slot matters so much. 8 slot fishing is very different than dominant fishing or tool function fishing, which would probably be most effective.
Yeah, because if you're on SI dom, or maybe an ISFJ or something, like if you go fishing, even if you're SEing, the main goal there still is to enjoy yourself, enjoy the sun, enjoy the, being there.
4 or 5.
The sensations.
4th slot, 5th slot, SE, like fishing and are bad at it. Okay.
For sure.
I'm not very good at it either. 8th slot's not very good at it either. I'm sure 7th slot's not very good at it either.
And the ESTP would just go there with a gun and start shooting the fish.
Well, I'm pretty sure this guy that we were chatting with and who helped us a little bit with showing us how to fish a little bit. He was a really super good fisherman. This dude at the fishing dock at Leg Lake, and I'm pretty sure he was an ESFP, and he was a badass fisherman. Like he tie that shit up and just like I couldn't even follow his fingers what the fuck he did. All of a sudden you got you got your hook coming off, it's got bait on it already, and he's like, there you go. Just like, and he was so enthusiastic the whole time too. He was like, he got 2 poles in there. Don't worry, I'm gonna get a fish on one of these things. And he get fish on. And he's like sharing the whole experience with us. It was like very inclusive and warm. That's ESFP at their best, right?
Yeah.
How about an SI dom, SE ignoring? Could they catch a fish?
Yeah, I mean, ISFJ and INFJ both like fishing a lot. They aren't good at it, but Rachel and Kimberly have both caught more fish while fishing than I have. Of course, remember that I'm the one who's always setting up their pole, and they're the ones that are always, We're the ones that are always like losing their gear and shit and losing their bait and stuff. I have to reset it up for them.
Yeah.
So the TE helps a little bit.
TE helps, yeah. TE helps. But the SE part, that's the thing. The SE part catches the fish, actually. So it doesn't matter who sets it up. They're the ones who get that line in the water and they end up catching fish.
I never caught one fish. I went deep sea fishing one time. I only caught other people's lines.
Did you catch a case of extreme vomit disorder?
Well, luckily I didn't catch that.
I did when I went deep sea fishing.
I gotta catch a fish before I die, though. That's pathetic.
Right, Matthew, you're not Rachel. Matthew, when are you gonna come over to visit us someday?
Oh yeah, some point.
And then we'll go fishing and we will all catch a fish
Oh,
together.
good question. That's a good.
We'll all have one hand on the pole and we'll catch it together. Today we'll choose fishing.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounded dirty, but
Benjamin, what other controversial, provocative arguments do you want to make at me?
Let's see.
Let me think of all the ways that Eric is wrong. I'm Vandermine, and I'm going to think of them all right now, and I have a litany of wrongnesses I'm going to spew upon you.
There was something you said how INFJs treat SI. What was it? Like they need to go at it up in a roundabout way.
Yeah, but they
But
try
I
to.
didn't catch the specifics.
I'm saying they try to NI their SI. If an INFJ is
Right.
trying to figure out if they feel sick right now, they'll Google what does feeling sick feel like, rather than just checking their own body and going, well, how do I
Right.
feel? They have to develop and learn to embrace those SI things. So one thing that Rachel's developing by being with me, without either of us trying, is a better awareness of physical SI. She's begun to yawn when I yawn occasionally. She used to never yawn.
What? Sure, but
And I just never saw her yawn. I don't know. She has a sleep disorder, so. But now she's starting to have sort of the FEs kicking in with the SI. It's in an appropriate slot. So in other words, because mine's fourth slot and it's so self-serving, I'm not pushing any SI on her. I'm just saying to her, okay, I'm going to have SI time now near her, demonstrating how to get rah-rah with yourself, And she's sort of learning by osmosis as a consequence, SI. Similarly, I'm learning from her how to approach SE via the bridge function of FE, because I want her to be happy. And I'm recognizing what it means to have SE satisfaction for her. Like I can tell when a given SE outing is good and satisfying and when it starts to push it too far, I'm learning those limits and they tend to be the same as my own. So it's good for me too,
Yeah. Yeah, and this eight slot role function is quite trainable. Like, that's a good way to get out of your head as an NE dom.
I'm a believer in the idea of a complementary relationship that helps in that regard. And that's why I think INFJ and ENTP is right for me, at least, because I see the way that the functions are complementary by and large rather than conflictatory. In my relationship with an ISFJ, I found them largely conflictatory.
Yeah, but there were so many other problems as well.
That's true.
Not just typology shit.
That's true. All right, I'm going to go over here to live chat here for a second. Let me see what's going on in the live chatto. Eric, is your first priority to seek truth and tell it to others or to enjoy yourself? Lyra Fajical. Ooh. Hi, you are asking the hard questions there, aren't you? I don't know. Okay, well, that was Martin L's little story there made me laugh about maggots on mom's nostril. Okay, so I don't know the answer to that question, Larry Pacheco. I'd say in practice, my first priority is clearly to enjoy myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be live streaming here. It serves my enjoyment more than it serves spreading the truth of anything. And ultimately, when people won't agree with me or won't work with me towards mutual agreement about something or trying to be debating, then I just like, okay, I've had enough of this. So I guess the answer is enjoy myself. What's your priority, Vayner Morning? Tell the truth or enjoy yourself?
Enjoy myself first. Like, I mean, truth is important, but if it gets too much in the way of enjoyment, then it loses its value for me. Like,
Matthew, what about you? What's more important, the truth or enjoying yourself?
I would say the truth, because even if I'm enjoying myself without the truth, I feel like kind of like I'm missing something or feel guilty a little bit or something.
These lying pleasures, you say to yourself. Now, what about you, Kitty? What about you? What's more important to you? Is it the truth or is it enjoying yourself? Meow meow. It's enjoying myself. Meow meow. Look at that kitty. How comfortable does she look?
Oh man, God. that kitty's laying in the pure truth right now. I can tell.
Yeah, she is laying on the pillows of truth. These are like the equivalent of Wonder Woman's lasso, but in pillow form. But her tail's moving too. She must be dreaming of something. What do you think Kitty's dreaming of right now?
That kitty's like, I don't know if this is pleasure or the truth, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
Kitty has very little ontological distress. She has some with the cat Trouble. You know, Trouble's not an easy cat to have in the mix if you're PP. But by and large, I think she's got an ontologically smooth road for a being.
Yeah.
Vayner
Not
Morning,
too much baggage.
Vayner Morning, you call your road ontologically smooth?
Nope.
What makes your ontological road bumpy?
There's quite a lot of things, really. I mean, first of all, there's the fact that I sort of lost myself maybe 10 years back. Like, I fell into very heavy depression and I had no idea who I was, what my values are, like what constitutes as me. And I had to like unravel all of that and like really painstakingly make sure I know who I am and where I stand with things. And like, because before that, I just did shit like, no matter, I didn't think about much about anything, really. I just went with the flow. And I realized that there's something really like fundamental missing here.
So you had some kind of identity crisis. What resolved it?
Yeah. Well, I can say it's really resolved, like completely. But getting into psychology helped, and you know, that was my way into typology, really.
Was psychology the first thing you tried, or was there something before that that was helping you get that identity back?
I pretty much straight up jumped into psychology. I don't remember there being too many steps before that. Of course, I did some self-searching before that, but I didn't really have any tools because
Yeah.
I was a fucking mess.
Well, also, I mean, it's hard to have tools about the self without a meta frame, which cognitive functions provide.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard otherwise because you're adrift in this mush of various approaches and theories and notions that comprise psychology, all of which can be subsumed successfully by cognitive functions. Without cognitive functions, there's no frame to understand them in. Now, I'm thinking, Vandermoon, one of the major problems you were having was you needed a transubstantiated bong rip. And that's one of the solutions I'm going to provide for you right now. Okay? I hereby transubstantiate this bong rip for you, Vandermoon.
I thank you.
Just let it sink in.
This bong rip is actually the final step in your identity building process.
You can emerge from your spiritual chrysalis now. Speaking of spiritual chrysalises, Matthew, how's your spiritual chrysalis coming along?
I might honestly have to pay for another session. I feel like whatever Lionel Sprinting Wolf Kazuko taught me, I really let go to a decent degree. I feel like
yes,
I didn't pay.
You need another symposium with Dr. Lionel Sprinting Wolf Kazuko, Native American life coach. Otherwise, you'll continue to crawl like a cub.
Yeah, I was sort of faking it the whole time and pretending I knew what he was talking about because I had that like any ADD kind of thing going when he was talking. I wasn't even paying attention. So
that's why you crawl. That is why you crawl. Wow, Dr. Lionel Sprinting Wolf Kazuko stopped by. What a pleasant surprise. He's always showing us the way. Matthew bolted in his skittish ENFP fashion.
Yeah. Did you look into the spiral dynamics? Spiral dynamics.
Spiral dynamics? What is spiral dynamics?
It's basically like levels of development for societies, or more like for culture, on a macro and micro level. Like the values of culture that make up various groups or nations, beliefs and such, and how they develop, what is required for development, and what kind of memes reside within various levels.
So it's an architecture to describe mimetic dynamics over time.
What dynamics?
Mimetic dynamics over time.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, well that sounds interesting. That sounds super interesting. I'll look into it. I like.
I'm not sure how much there is on the internet. I've tried to Google it, but there's quite a limited supply. So best bet would just buy their book. It's called Spiral Dynamics by Beck and Cohen.
Okay, maybe I will. I'm currently reading a book. We're listening to one on audible.com. I'm listening to The Wheel of Time. It's a book of magic and dragons and swords and stuff. It's fun. I like those kind of books. I've always liked those kind of books.
It's a fantasy novel.
Yeah, it's a like 16 book long. Each book is like 800 pages. Well, on Audible, the first book in the series, the total amount of time for the book is about 30 hours to get through it. Okay,
Right.
and that's one of 16. So we're launching on a, I would say a. Let's see. An 30 times 10 is 300. And then 30 times 6 is 180. So it's almost a 500-hour long voyage here. We're like 6 hours into a 500-hour long audio voyage. How many days is 500 hours? Let's see. 10 days is 240 hours. So it's like 20 days plus a day. 21 days. It's a fortnight plus a week. What's a word that means 21 days? There should be a word for that. There's a week. There's a fortnight. Is it a tri-night?
Tri-night sounds like it.
Or a tri-week?
Mineral.
A
mineral.
blackjack. They should call it a blackjack. 21 days is the blackjack. You got a week, a fortnight, and a blackjack. Anyway, we've got a blackjack's worth of continual audio listening to. But with a 20-hour trip to Washington State, that's 20 hours back. We'll probably get, by the time we get back, we'll be through book 2 even. That's pretty good.
Yeah. And that's kind of nice. You're gonna feel quite lost after those 500 hours.
Yeah.
The sense of emptiness.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends. But I remember about this.
I mean, if it turns out it's complete garbage, then
no, it's not garbage. But I remember about one thing I remember about the series, and I talked to my dad about it actually tonight, and he's read about 10 or 12 books of it or something like that. But is that it gets very complex because the way that they build the story is they add these characters periodically. The guy adds the characters periodically. And then like everything that happens, he's got to tell that story from all of their perspectives. And then it just starts getting really thick, you know?
Do you really have to focus?
Well, it just gets a little thick. It's a little turgid, you might say.
All right.
You want to avoid turgidity.
Turgid.
All right, so let's go here to the live chat and see what's going on. Gene S is here.
Yep.
It's Connor, that one British child that disappeared after freestyling. Oh, no, I can hear you just fine. Hi, Connor. How are you doing? I know who you are. I remember you, actually, vaguely. But yeah, now that you mention it, I remember you. And welcome back. It's been 5 years since you've been here. This is one of the cool things about being a YouTuber is here's this person who's come back to say hi again after I last saw them 5 years ago or something. It's like, hey, remember me? And this person sort of stood out, I guess, enough that I actually do remember them because it was a musical engagement rather than a talking about typology or something engagement, which gets lost in the wash more easily. I don't have a lot of musical engagements with other people. So
Was Connor the guy you did the freestyle with on the porch?
no, that was what's his name? Zach. Yeah, that's Zach. ENTP Zach, not INTP Zach. But anyway, yeah, Connor is way prior to that. And he was a British kid rapper guy that rapped, freestyled over something, or freestyled with me. I don't remember exactly the details of it, but
5 years.
you really
I don't
want
think I watched you for that long. I think I started watching you back in 2016.
there's the link, Connor. If you want to come into this room. Let's see what else is going on over here. Ken Christian Sarmapagoo says we get only Lipton and English SMSS here. English brand's pretty expensive. I tried it once, but didn't find it strong enough.
What?
Ken Christian Sarmapagoo, you probably have access to plenty of tea.
Yeah. You what?
Because you are in India.
I don't know if they can.
Hi, Connor.
Hello.
I can hear you. You apparently can't hear me. Yes, I can hear you.
No.
You're just not
Is
saying
he saying
anything.
something?
Yes, I can hear you. But you are not saying anything.
Right. Oh yeah, that was the one thing about getting into SI for MI.
What were you saying, Vayner Morning?
Yeah.
I got a fan, but it's not that low. I'm in the UK, man. We just discovered fire, like thanks to Ireland about 1,000 years ago.
Can you hear us?
It's like it's soft thing, man.
I don't think you can hear us.
How do I like select output? Because it give me input for headphones. But I can't find fucking output.
Are you talking to us
I don't think you can hear us.
or to yourself?
No, he can't hear us. He doesn't realize that we're hearing him either, I don't think. So what were you saying?
Right. So INTJs have an easier time with SI because they can TE that shit. I mean, they usually have easier time. I mean, like they can, kind of avert the FI pitfalls through TE. For example, if they're SIing, they go through this list of things like it's an algorithm or a flow chart that they go through. Okay, am I feeling this? No. Then am I feeling this? Yes. Then what are the common reasons to feel like this, and so on and so forth.
What type are you talking about?
And INTJ,
INTJ.
NITE. Right, for INFJs, they don't have that TE to work with, so they have to, use more NI and go more into that esoteric realm, something like, using tarot to find out if I'm hungry or shit. Whatever they do.
I see. So what you're saying is your NI is less magical and more practical. Or I don't know if you're an INTJ, but INTJ NI is more practical and less magical. Yeah, I mean that's consistent with with what I think as well. INFJs are the most magical types, I guess you'd say, because they're well. There's this one thing I made where it was a chart that showed how it's like it's the logic one where it's so for example, NITE is a um, is a mythological teleologist, okay? Whereas an NIFE is a mythological sociologist, basically. So it's like if you think about every one of the things being a logic, NE is analogical, NI is basically archetypal or mythological. FE is sociological. SE is I don't remember what I said though. Was alogical, I think. FI is autological. TE is teleological. TI is logical.
FI
is
is
autological. AUTO.
Autological. What does it mean?
It means logic of the self.
Right.
Logic of the self. SI is I forget what I said SI was. I have to look at the chart. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I mean, FI is rational. Still, it has its own logic.
Oh yeah,
To
Flogic. It's called Flogic. Flogic is the contradiction-proof logic of feelings.
Yeah, and relationship.
Yeah, well, it's managing the logic of not being able to have everything you want, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. So I'll share this document. It's page. What page is this?
Is this from your book?
Yeah. Copy link. Done. What page is this, though? Good question. 64. Okay, so here's a link here. It's on page 64. And here's the link here. It's on page 64 if anybody wants to check this link out here. I'm going to push them, yeah, and then push them, yeah, like that. So this is what it says. It says that, where is the one I'm looking for? Let me see 3. Yeah, 2 is it, I guess. Okay. So TIFE is a logical approach with validity as an impact locus. Sociological approach with motivations as an impact locus is FETI. Teleological approach with the purpose impact locus is TEFI. Autological approach with the burden impact locus is FITE. Analogical approach with an equivalence impact locus is NESI. Ontological approach with a predictability locus is SINE. Mythological approach with a resonance impact locus is NISE. And alogical approach with an execution locus is SENI. And so you can see you've got ENTP is logical and analogical. They're in fact a logical analogician, whereas an INTP is a analogical logician. Okay, and so you do whichever one's first. So like for me, analogical NE is before TI, so I'd say I'm an analogical logician. If you're an INTJ, then you're a mythological teleogician. Okay. And then you can do the example to figure out your thing. The example is for INTP. INTP instantiates and legitimizes. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Is it echoing or not?
No, it's not echoing.
All right, cool. I go on your point. My bad to interrupt. My bad. I want to hear your point.
No problem. I understand. INTP instantiates and legitimizes statuses of objects on the field of relative absolutism, RA, in both real-time and turn-based modes. Field responsiveness is only. This is very complicated. So I don't even remember what I meant here. I have to think about it and figure it out again. So. You know,
I mean, you're ENTP, so I can definitely relate.
All right. So anyway, there's that page. If you want to look at it, you can look at it. See some people are there. That's cool to look at it. It's on page 64. And anyway, so if you want to know what type you are, ENTPs are are logical analogicians. And like, let's say you're an INFJ, you're a you're a sociological mythologician. Like
that's just sound crazy.
That's cool. I like that word.
My sister's an INFJ, which I just call her Hitler all the time.
Mythologism.
Okay, so you said you wanted to come in here and argue with me. What do you want to argue with me about?
Wait, did I say that? I didn't say anything about arguing.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you said so.
No, I said I just said like, yo, bro, like, the only thing I want to say dispute was 5 years. No, I think it was like 3 years ago. I don't know. I'm 20 now. I think when I got, it's like, yeah, no, it's not a big difference.
Okay, maybe it's 3 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
It was a while ago.
I don't even know. It was like, I'm surprised that you're still so involved in MBTI in a way. But I don't know how long you have been involved in it.
Well, I mean, this is a conversation right now that's been pretty MBTI focused. And a lot of people talk to me about MBTI because, you develop over time inertia.
It's still mad interesting. It's still very, because there's too many coincidences for it not to have some truth to it.
Well, I mean, I think that what it boils down to is from a YouTuber's perspective and somebody who talks about a given thing, you develop credibility over time, and it just makes sense to continue to exercise in that forum because you have credibility there at that point. It's not really so much that I'm always talking about MBTI. That's actually not the case. I live stream a lot, and the subjects are totally all over the place. But people keep coming back to me people keep coming back to me to talk to me about cognitive functions. And I do type people.
You're a great typist. That's how I viewed you. You're knowledgeable about the subject.
Right.
But yeah, I'm not very deep into it. I'm deep into it that I understand at least some of the functions and somewhat. But yeah, when you talk about when you describe INFJ as social something theologian, I don't know what that shit's all crazy.
They're sociological mythologicians.
Yeah, that still sounds like some crazy shit. That sounds like some shit the KKK invented for like a rank.
So what's going on with you? I'm curious.
I mean, I'm at uni now. I mean, same old kind of shit. Coronavirus has spoiled like my whole plans for the year. I was planning to go, like, I never left Europe before, so I was planning to go America for holiday, and then down to Mexico, and then Africa as well. And Corona kind of fucked that shit up. But yeah, I mean, same old shit. Like, I haven't really been. Music hasn't been my primary focus, but it still is my primary focus. It's just that, as far as I'm concerned, you know, I got my backup. I'm still working at uni just in case, because like, it's my familial perspective. It's the background I come from. My dad don't respect me if it's music. he don't respect creative kind of, you know, vocations.
Right. Well, certainly parents tend to dismiss the notion that it's going to be successful as a profession. You know, they may think it's fine as a whatever, but
even then, like, my dad don't like me.
where did I leave my butane?
For the record, my dad's an ESTJ. I think it's pretty natural.
Yeah, my dad's an ESTJ too. So.
Oh yeah, I think we have the same pairing. My mom's an ISFJ.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my mom is too.
Parents. So yeah, it's funny, but yeah, nah, yeah, ESTJ is, I don't know what it's about him, but yeah, my dad's a awful parental figure, and he admits it to himself.
What are you studying at the university?
What do you say?
What are you studying at the university?
Psychology, funny enough.
How is it?
I don't talk much.
Is it fun?
Nah, fuck no. I mean, I don't think I can do uni work and academic work, but I don't think I do not enjoy it. I can do it and my mind can work for it, but it don't stress me in an intense way, but it just annoys me. I don't like writing loads of bullshit and using the most complicated words to make myself sound educated. I don't like it. I don't like. You can hear from my voice. My voice, English accents are confusing to a lot of Americans because, you know, I can speak just like an exaggerated American, but you motherfuckers can't do our shit.
Oh, I can speak English accents. I may not be able to do your particular English accent, but I can do a variety of English
my
accents.
particular accent is strange to Americans, I think.
I mean, you sound like
Yeah.
a British rapper. Like, this is basically like British urban accent you have, like the equivalent of an American urban accent.
Yeah, but yeah, it would come down to race, and I don't know if it goes the same way in America, but like same way, it's like a lot of people think I'm mixed. I have like, you know, decent lips for a white person. That's the only thing. And I have a biggish nose, but nah, other than that, there's nothing. I'm pale as shit though. So, but people, I've known plenty of people, because where I'm from, there aren't many white people, especially Irish community. That shit don't exist, and that's where I'm from. So, like, there's certain white communities that are very strong, because the way that this kind of like the racial divides in the UK, or especially London, very different from the racial divides. Like in America, you guys are like still segregated, even though it isn't a legal thing. You're still segregated. The hoods are still full of black people. They're not diverse. If you look at London gangs and look at like a Compton gang, they are not diverse. You give me this face,
but that doesn't mean it does. But hold on.
Go on. Maybe you have different thoughts. Give me this face, man.
Just because there are sections of town that are not diverse, that are poor, doesn't mean that the rich sections of town aren't diverse.
Okay, but I don't see a point there.
Well, the point is that it's not a problem of segregation by race.
No.
It's a class issue that happens to clump with race as well. So there are...
No, my point was the way... I didn't say there was any real like resulting factors or something to discuss from this. My point was that like the way that hoods in America work compared to the UK and especially London is that most American hoods, when I see a rapper, you know, in a music video in America, all of the people in the background are black. If you look at a London music video, it's diverse. There's Asians, there's Arabs, there's whites, there's blacks, there's mostly black, but it's regardless, it's from the diversity of the area, because like in a lot of the poorer areas, I don't know, there's plenty of factors contributing, but there are a lot of black people in those areas, but it's still very diverse compared to America. Like,
Okay,
I'm telling you.
listen. I don't know what you're
I'm
talking
not
about.
from
Because
America,
hey,
but-
hold on. Listen, buddy. As far as I know,
listen, am I
not-
getting offensive? My bad.
as far as I know, none of my rap songs, the videos for them have any black people in them. So
No,
I don't know what
right. No,
I don't know
right.
what data pool you're drawing from, sir. But you're clearly
No,
wrong
I'm
about
saying-
American rap
okay.
videos.
Yeah. Did you say I'm drawing it from American rap videos? Of
No, I'm
course I
saying
am.
I don't know what pool of data you're drawing from. But if you look at my
Okay,
rap
no.
videos, if you just look at my rap videos,
That's
they're
you.
not full of black people.
I'm talking about popular. Like I'm talking about big.
Are
celebrities.
you saying I'm not big and
No,
popular?
that's not a cuss to you. Shut up. You know that isn't a cuss to you. Shut up. You don't be so sensitive.
I'm just
I'm
playing.
talking about the people that have a giant influence on on the world, not the nation, on the
Oh,
world.
on the whole world.
Yes, they do. You know, I'm
You
sorry.
mean like
That's not
Kendrick
America,
Lamar?
Eric. You don't have a big effect
Do
on the
you
world.
do you mean like Kendrick Lamar?
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar.
Are you trying to
like,
say I'm not as important as Kendrick Lamar?
I said you are. Wait, what did you say?
Are you trying to say I am less important than Kendrick Lamar?
Yes. No. Eric, there's no way. No, Eric, you're the
I'm
best.
just
No.
teasing you, dude. I don't give a fuck.
I know you
Obviously, I'm less important than Kendrick Lamar.
I know it, but that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm not judging you. I'm judging off of the people that influence people. I don't know what the original point was.
I'm
quite
just
remember now.
playing. I'm just playing. I don't actually have any of those
I know.
shows.
I know. You have me half believing you for a bit.
Yeah, it's true that a lot of those popular influential videos with rappers are not very racially diverse. I saw a really good video the
Not
other
maybe
day.
integrated in the word, but yeah.
If you look at, it's called like Hip Hop Broadway Musical or something like that. It's by DaBaby. It's a great video. It's such a good video.
And I know the baby. I never heard. Is that a song he made?
No, I'm talking. It's a big, successful, famous video. Okay, it's
Wait, is it a song that the baby made? I know the rapper.
yeah,
the baby.
DaBaby is the artist, and the video is if you put it in YouTube, Broadway hip hop Broadway musical or something like that, then you'll see it's a video. It's all like one shot, right? The whole video is one shot, and it's very well choreographed. It's a great video.
Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I thought you meant when I say one shot. When I think of one shot, it usually sounds awkward as fuck. I like those kind of videos when it's just one shot and the guy's talking to the camera for the whole video, but it just pans out and zooms in very close. It's great.
Well, yeah, this one.
No, if you're saying choreographed, then
It's very choreographed with dances and people coming in and out of the frame. Okay,
very great.
And it's like it was tricky for them to get it to all play out right.
Yeah, in one take.
Yeah, they had to. They probably had to do it a bunch of times, I would bet.
Yeah, because it was a one take. Like I've seen videos like that. When it comes to choreography in general, like to get that perfect take, it takes a lot of takes.
Yeah, I always am impressed by that kind of thing.
At least like 4 minutes at the least long. So it takes a lot of tries. Because especially big videos, when there's at least 50 dancers involved, that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, there probably are about 50 in that one, I would guess.
There you go. I've seen projects like that, and that is hard. Like you see slip-ups even in the final cut. There's always like slight slip-ups. If you really criticize it, you can see a couple people that fucked up.
Yeah. I am out of weed and getting tired. So I think I'm going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys for being here. I'm going to see you later. I'm going to end the live stream. I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired.
All right, that's fair.
Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here. Talk to you later, live streamers.